Would you do anything to save a life? Should you? This is the central idea behind the story of a gaming YouTuber called Miniladd, a 20-year-old whom was caught DMing a 14-year-old girl who was a fan of his about her boobs and calling her attractive. His rationale for doing so was that the girl was suicidal and he was complimenting her to try and show her that life is worth living and it wasn't a sexual pass at the underage girl. On the surface, this seems like valid reasoning, but let's dive deeper into the facts where this all begins to unravel. Miniladd refers to some snaps which were previously sent, of which there is no record of them. They could be pictures of absolutely nothing, or they could be nude pics of the girl in question. Certainly, if they're the latter, that changes the entire dynamic of this conversation, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that they're nothing special. And the reason that he knows what this girl looks like is because they were introduced to one another at a fan meetup. Now, in this screenshot, the girl asks, quote, "What's attractive?" To which Miniladd responds, "Your boobs and their size." She then replies, "In my eyes, they're actually not that big." Then he claims, "Maybe you think that because they're perky and don't sag." And later, "Yours are really perky, which for you, you think that because they don't sag, they're not big. The fact that they don't sag are a giant bonus." Newsflash for you, dude. Number one, unless you were seeing this girl's boobs naked, which is an even bigger problem as I stated earlier, she's probably wearing a bra at that age. Most boobs don't sag when you wear a fucking bra. That's the whole point of wearing one. Number two is the girl is 14 years old in the middle of puberty. Of course her boobs aren't gonna sag. Gravity needs more goddamn time to take effect than that, fam. I mean, maybe you'd think that way if you weren't a stud like me during middle and high school, but I never saw a pair of saggy tits during that period of my life. There's better ways to go about raising a girl's self-esteem without seeming like a fucking creep by pointing out the fact that I just stated here. Anyways, let's continue. He chimes in, "It's literally illegal for us to do anything because you have to be over 18. Flirting and shit isn't illegal, but actually doing anything is." Sad face. And then later, "We could talk about boobs and dicks or whatever, but nothing will ever come of this." To which she responds, "It's sad as well because you're my YouTube crush, for fuck's sake, killing me." Therein lies the huge problem with this entire exchange. First of all, why the sad face after "but actually doing anything is"? This implies that you want to have something more come of this exchange, but you just said it won't happen, and that's why you're sad. To me, this is a giant red flag here. Even if you were trying to comfort a friend, this has mixed signals written all over it. Then he says we could talk about boobs and dicks, as he's implying that they could talk about her boobs and his dick. We've already seen the interaction about the boobs, but suddenly there's dick out of nowhere! Where did the dick come from? Is he gonna pull an Anthony Weiner and just snap his member to her? Why else would they be talking about his dick? Another giant red flag in the conversation. And the last response is the heart of the matter here. She says that he is her YouTube crush. This is a giant problem. Huge problem here. He knows, or at least has an inkling, that this 14-year-old girl has feelings for him, yet he continues to flirt with her, which is something that humans do almost instinctively, but you need to know when you're crossing the line. Here is where you're crossing the line. I can understand why Miniladd is doing this. He's trying to have people like him, and this is an easy way to do it to grow his own self-esteem. Lord knows that he needs a girl to be attracted to him when he looks like this. It's perfectly normal to have people want to like you, but leading on this girl is absolutely not okay, and that's what he's doing here. Not only is this an adult-child dynamic between the two of them, but it's also a celebrity-citizen type dynamic, if you will. These young kids used to look up to movie stars and athletes for inspiration, but now tons of young people look up to YouTubers as celebrities, and due to the nature of creating content and the amount of interaction there is, we are even more accessible than an actor or a sports star with Twitter and the comments section of our YouTube videos. People that are content creators need to be very careful of fans being starstruck and the role that it plays in the interaction. It used to be the case that people would lust after celebrities they'd never be able to obtain, and that drove the psychological obsession, but in this case, the girl has direct line access to the quote-unquote star, which keeps her hopes even more alive than the movie actor or the athlete that they know that they'll never be able to obtain. It makes it even worse when Miniladd says things like "nothing will ever come come with this, yet he's clearly making passes at her, even subtly via the words that he's using. This cat and mouse psychological game that he's playing with this girl is actually more damaging to her overall mental health than his reasoning of trying to help her out via compliments, especially given she's only 14 years old. And as this girl is going through puberty, her brain is developing many different types of hormones at this time in her life, which is causing events to seem much more impactful than they actually are. This is why mood disorders are extremely prevalent in this age group, and at this time in her life, she might not be able to detach emotionally from the compliments given here, which has the intention of making her feel better, nothing more. However, the mixed signals in the messaging will most likely very well lead her down another emotional roller coaster, as she's now higher than she was before, yet the situation hasn't really changed, because Miniladd explicitly stated that nothing can ever come with this. What goes up must come down, Newton's law of gravity. Her last message says, quote, "I went back and read what you said to me, and I was blushing and smiling, and now I'm in an amazing mood, and I couldn't give a shit about anything or anyone that's negative towards me." Here's the problem with this. By leading her on with the messages he sent to her is just going to make that inevitable crash back down to earth when she realizes that she's chasing the forbidden fruit even that much harder. When you crack open the door of opportunity by exchanging with a girl you really shouldn't be saying these type of things to, you give them a false sense of hope, which, once they realize what this means, they will be right back to where they started, depressed, or worse yet, suicidal. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me? Well, that's the motto we should all live by, but words can hurt and they can be damaging, even when they're trying to be helpful in this case. Miniladd's intentions might have been good, but the execution was so piss poor you might as well call it an Indianapolis Colts fake punt. The mixed signals that led her on, and the fact that he's not a professional, means he shouldn't be trying to talk her out of depression in this particular manner. The correct behavior in this scenario would have been to be more abstract, tell her not to be so down on herself, and advise her to talk to somebody about her feelings that's a professional that can help, not to string along the girl that's already very unstable and emotionally distraught. It makes me feel good when I get messages like this as a content creator. Even though we might think we're just regular people, to some, we're looked up to as role models and pseudo-celebrities. Don't take advantage of that dynamic. What do you guys think? I've been the Schwantz27, out like nipples in a wet t-shirt contest. Until next time.